detective. Thrill me.
Thanks for joining us again. Another episode. We finally got the four of us in the same room for once.
I'm back. It's all Matt's fault. I'm always here.
You keep bringing the bloody cheesecake and where you'll be excommunicated. All right, tonight's episode, going back into Rocky territory, and I'm fully going to admit I have not seen this picture until we watched it for this. So I should be disgusted with myself.
You've just been kicking Stallone for a couple of years now, haven't you?
Not. I love the bloke.
No, you do not. You've turned your back on him.
What's it all?
In his time of need.
This is actually a request from Ali, one of our listeners.
Isn't it? Is he our only listener?
I think he might be. I'm not 100% sure. But thank you, Ali, because I needed to get off my ass and watch this film. And so thanks for picking it. Before we get into it, though, I'm just going to whip out some quick sort of... There was a news report the other day about Hellboy that essentially stated that producers essentially... they basically steamrolled the director. They took over the project. Actors were rewriting scenes in the middle of filming.
One suggested that David Harbour was ignoring Neil Marshall.
Yeah. Subsequently, the movie is currently on Rotten Tomatoes at 12%.
Oh.
And it's
come up with it then.
It's box
nearly
office.
70 audience score. Jesus Christ.
It's box office. It was supposed to, they were saying it would open somewhere between 18 and 21, opening with a minuscule 12, I believe.
How much did it cost?
I'm sure it'll
50.
take in the second week.
50. Yeah, it's on the way up. Start slow.
It's generally how it goes.
It's a slowly cresting wave, isn't it?
I never felt that this was really going to be much good. It didn't stick out. I believe it was on our least anticipated list, Jared. Yeah. But I did not expect
I might have finally got one right.
Might touch on that.
But I did not expect this type of that type of news. You know that essentially it seems like the production was hamstrung by producers, and Marshall seems to have been basically just pushed out of this whole thing.
Yeah, well, he didn't turn up to do press, did he? Or didn't turn up to the premiere, or
he was in
That's
the
a good
shit.
sign.
guys should be worried about this.
Nah, it's all fine. Directors don't usually come to these things.
Yeah, we never speak to directors, mate. They're just behind the scenes. He was also in the poo for some other stuff, wasn't he, Jared? So
no, well, I don't think he's in the poo, but the woman that was involved in that stuff with Kevin Tsujihara and Brett Ratner, surprise, he's involved.
Another quality human.
Yeah, Charlotte. What's her name? Charlotte.
Yeah, she was an actress.
She was an actress.
She's an actress.
He's shacked up with her and is now writing films for her to star in or something. So he's not in trouble, but
basically it was studio interference. That doesn't help it, but I never really was anticipating it greatly, and I kind of wonder. And I was saying to you, Jared, hasn't got a great big following, has it?
It's got a following, but it's a little more niche than.
Isn't the following more just people that enjoyed the first Del Toro movie though?
No, well, I think Hellboy's heyday was a bit before that in the comics, so there's still Hellboy comics, but I don't think it's quite as popular as it once was.
It looks cool, but man, I remember watching the first one. It just doesn't deliver at all.
The first one had no plot, but it was well made. The sequel was garbage.
The fish dude that ate rotten eggs, that didn't do anything for me. But other than that, it was alright. The second one was poor.
Yeah, the second one was really bad.
Yeah.
How long are we talking here? Probably 10 years since the first two?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's probably ripe to be re-looked at, but God, it's good to see when you're really looking at a property and then you're ripping the shit out of it behind the scenes.
I think he'll be shuffling off back to hell for a couple of
years
at least. I don't think this is going to win.
And you know what? The person that gets hurt most out of this is Marshall. And he's actually a good director. And he's going to end up getting hurt because basically it shows he had no control over anything, and he. Yeah,
well, I guess there's obviously. Well, it sounds like there's going to be plenty of stories yet to come about it, but why? Like, what was the issues with the producer? I know the producer. I believe Marshall was trying to get that Charlotte. I can't remember her last name for the life of me, but he was trying to get her cast in the movie, and the producers
Maybe that's
him
where they started
for that.
butting heads on that.
And by what he was saying, he was campaigning pretty hard to get her in there. So I don't know whether issues started over that or what, but like, I'd be interested to know why he was just getting ignored, because out of everyone involved, he's got the track record, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not sure how all that played out, but it's going to be interesting to read over the next couple of years when everyone starts talking about it.
Yeah, it'll fall out.
Yeah, everybody starts sticking their 2 cents worth in about 12 months.
Yeah. I mean, I cannot wait. It was only, however many years until Patton Oswalt dropped all that shit that Wesley Snipes was doing on the set of Blade.
Oh, yeah.
And that was hilarious. I look forward over the next 5 to 10 years of someone just spilling the beans on what was going on the Hellboy set.
Yeah. Very interesting indeed. All right, let's take a break. Here's the trailer for 2018's Creed 2.
You gotta ask yourself, what are you fighting for?
Adonis Creed has been challenged by Victor Drago, son of the man who killed his father.
I'm taking the fight. That's the same thing your father said, and he died right here in my hands. This kid was raised in hate. It's dangerous.
This won't be the end of me. Or you. Because we're a team.
Creed 2 in cinemas November 30.
Creed 2 from 2018, directed by Stephen Capel Jr. I believe he'd had very limited credits. He only had one other feature film called The Land. Produced by Sylvester Stallone, William Chartoff, Ian Sharples, Kevin King Templeton, Charles Winkler, David Winkler, and Erwin Winkler.
Henry Winkler, anyway?
No. The story was by Chio Coker and Sasha Penn. Screenplay by Jewel Taylor and Sylvester Stallone. Stars Michael B. Jordan as Adonis Creed, Sylvester Stallone as Rocky Balboa, Tessa Thompson as Bianca, and Dolph Lundgren as Ivan Drago. The budget was $50 million. The box office was $175 million worldwide.
Whoa.
And this movie marks the 5th collaboration between Mr. Stallone and Lundgren.
Not enough.
We need more.
We need more. Look, they'll both be dead soon. So.
I wonder if London will get a cameo in Rambo 26.
Christ, I hope so.
All right, Matty, your thoughts on Creed 2?
I'm going to be unpopular. I thought it was all right, but I thought they spoke in cliches and some of the characters were underdeveloped.
They spoke in Stallone.
But I know I'm following that up with.
Look, they spoke Stallone.
I had to pay $19 to buy it, and then
Why?
I was something wrong. Amazon
You could
didn't
have
work.
just texted me.
That should have.
Yeah, you can find it. You can watch it.
And then I guess what expectations do you have when you're going into a Rocky movie? So
Very high.
apparently,
Cinematic brilliance.
so for me 2.5. I don't want to say.
How many?
Get out.
My new test is: do I want to watch it again? And I don't really.
Mate, if you keep talking, we're going to be making hurting bowls.
Oh, I'd go and watch it again right now.
Hibbo, thoughts?
Matt's wrong. I've probably got a different history with this whole thing than Matty. I can totally acknowledge that, there's a lot of cliche, there's a lot of rehash in this, to be honest. Like, this is basically Rocky 3.
Are you just going to stop there and go, this movie shit?
I'm definitely not going to say that because I really like it, but you have to acknowledge that there's just a lot of stuff just being cut and pasted from other Rocky movies. In some places, that's what makes it good. In other places, that's probably one of its biggest hindrances. But that said, the stuff that between Lundgren and Balboa is really, really strong. The stuff with the baby with the hearing loss and stuff like that stuff's really good. Even the stuff at the end with I don't know if it's spoilery stuff.
I like that Dolph and his son was good.
That stuff, like the whole character arc for Ivan Drago and his son is really good. And it's just, you can see what's going to happen. As soon as the first fight happens, you're like, oh shit, this is so obvious what's going to happen. And I still loved every single moment of it. So I'm going to go with 4.
Jared?
Yeah, look, I'm right there with Gibbo. I fully acknowledge that, again, it's so hard to do different stuff in this series.
Yeah. All the people are punching each other.
Yeah. But the thing that I give it massive credit for is that it's possibly the first movie in the whole Rocky stuff that gave the villain like a sympathetic angle.
Yeah, you could totally go for. Yeah, you could feel for Victor Drago.
Yeah,
you
because
could
even in
see where he was coming from.
Even with Rocky and Apollo in the first two movies, Apollo's still kind of the bad guy. Like they give him some sort of things to make it like there's a begrudging respect developing.
Yeah,
but this one was flat out like Big Nasty or whatever his name is, Florian
Montiano.
Yep, him. He does a really good job of acting because he's got about 3 lines in the whole movie. But he's giving off these vibes of you understand what he's feeling about his mother and how his dad's been treated, and the stuff with him, the way they manage those fights when you know exactly where the movie's going to go. They threw some angles in that I wasn't expecting. The disqualification. I kind of half expected something like the towel, but the way that they did it, with Ivan being the one to throw the towel, I was like, that got me.
Yeah.
And I was right back in where, they went back to the well again and fucking had me.
Mate, that well is fucking 10 miles deep.
Yeah. So I go for a 4. I think I might have given Creed 1 a 4. It's a better movie, but this one's not too far off it.
Yeah.
Right. Well, when I first heard about Creed 2 and I heard they were bringing back Drago, and then I hear that Ryan Coogler steps aside and we're getting Stallone to fight again, all I could think of was, this sounds like shit. And I'm currently being served up a fucking 3-course crow meal here. I'm getting 3 courses of crow because...
Crow spring rolls, crow soup,
crow garlic bread, like the whole package is getting dished up because...
Get a candied crow for dessert.
I'm eating the beak, the feet, the fucking lot. I was super surprised by how well done this was, because like Jared, this well I thought was dry, but they dug in again and they found some interesting angles. The Drago stuff could have been a movie on its own for me. I just loved that dynamic between the father and son and what Ivan had actually gone through since he'd lost to Rocky. I thought that was great stuff. Yeah, like you say, it does kind of go to some silly shit, and some of the dialogue's a bit average. But overall, I gave it a 3.5. I gave Creed a 4, and I think it's a step below Creed, but not by much.
I'm a horrible person.
You're allowed to have your opinion.
No, you're allowed to have your opinion. We're not listening. But
You don't have to be right all the time, Matt. They can be wrong sometimes.
Okay. For me, the biggest like of the movie was the Drago stuff. The whole storyline with Drago. His son was absolutely fantastic, considering he says nothing. He says nothing at all. But his physical presence in the boxing ring, for starters, but then outside it, that sequence where his mother comes back to the table and he gets all excited for a second, then he kind of looks at Ivan, and Ivan's looking, downtrodden and whatever, and it's like you kind of you get all that and nobody says a word. And it's just magic, and then he leaves the table and Ivan follows him and he's like, she fucking left us.
Yeah, that delivery there was like...
Yeah. That was actory.
It was actory. Yeah. I think, look, one of the strengths that they've gotten in these later movies is picking boxes because the fight scenes look more impressive, but then you get one who delivers a pretty damn solid performance for what he's asked
I will
to do.
never tell that bloke that he acted like shit, because he looks like he could rip your fucking head off and shit down your throat.
As you said, some of those punches he's throwing, your head's coming off the shoulders. My head is not staying on. My head's just being...
But that's why Adonis was doing neck crunches.
That's right.
Who's doing that?
That was practical training. I was all on board for that. I'm like, that makes sense. You're strengthening your neck muscles.
You needed to, because your head would have come off.
It definitely doesn't stop you getting a concussion.
Judging by the size of your bonds, you've done plenty of those.
Hey, mate. Montiano could hit me, you wouldn't even notice. Break his whole arm off.
Is that all you got?
Come back and be serious, mate.
That was the most redundant exercise I've ever seen.
Yeah, what thank you, mate? Yeah, you can strengthen your neck up all you like, but when your brain's bouncing around,
like a ping pong
that's
ball,
usually trouble.
You can't strengthen your brain sack. So.
Just for me, that you kind of get the whole idea that Ivan desperately wants Victor to be champion, and it's kind of born out of like hatred and anger and all this stuff that he's had pent up inside.
He's the LeVar Ball of boxing.
And he's desperate for his son to prove that he wasn't nothing. Like Ivan was someone too, because I've coached my son to be the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you see, like, you know, obviously as it develops through the whole movie, you think, he's a broken man, he's lost everything and whatever, but then he realises by the end, the only thing that mattered, it was there all along.
Yeah, your son.
Whatever.
Are you going through your notes there going, where was all that? I didn't see that.
The way that they deliver the line, like some of the lines just landed really well. Yeah, they're cliched, but when he's going on about she left you or whatever, and then Drago just says, I lost.
Yeah.
I was just like, fuck, I love Rocky. I love these.
I'm 100% that Sylvester Stallone writes all of these little speeches that he does too.
Absolutely, I reckon he does.
The Drago intro at the start, right? When you've got the two, you see the Dragos, and then you get the credit. The opening credit comes up,
yeah.
And then the next thing you see is Adonis getting ready, and then Rocky comes out of the background. He's just like emerges out of the darkness doing one of his little
He's talking
steals.
to him about,
his speeches are the best thing in the
There's
world.
only 3 steps, but it's gonna look like a mountain today.
Yeah.
And I was like, that one was a bit dicey, but I'm still there, Sylvester.
But every single one of them, he's got this gravitas to them that makes you feel like it's the most
that one was a bit dicey.
It is. It's a bit.
Well,
it's
I said to Adam, isn't it kind of fucking hilarious that this bloke has created some of the biggest motivational kind of scenes and speeches and shit like that to get you pumped up, and the bloke never stepped in a boxing ring, really. Like if I'm sitting there going out to play a bit of sport, sometimes you're walking out there going, I'm gonna eat thunder and crap later or whatever, you know, some of those things that Mickey says, and you're like, Sylvester never actually never boxed.
Yeah.
But he's come up with all of this shit that is just so memorable and so it actually gets you. It actually gets you pumped up. It gets you tingling and
But the thing too is, coming back to the Drago storyline, is even the cameo by Bridget Nielsen was deliberate and in the right place.
Well timed.
And not just rammed in there because we'd seen her in part 4. It worked. All of it worked. And she only pops up twice, but it brings a real sort of sense of, I feel like I'm not good enough. Like you get the Ivan looking at her, sort of realising that's why she left me.
Yeah. The empty chair.
I'm nobody. I'm not up to it.
She's a shit human though. Like as a mother, holy crap.
But yeah, it was just really well done. Boxing scenes as well, as you say, they're much better choreographed now because you've got professionals in the roles.
Yeah.
Plus the actors are being trained to be boxers, basically.
remember the heights of like Rocky 2 where you just see Creed throw a right cross like 3 times and Rocky just goes we've stepped it up a bit since then. It's actually
side dodging.
I watched pretty closely for this exact thing, and I only spotted 2 air swings.
Yeah.
And they're close. Like it's hard to see them, but they are air swings. But
ducking and weaving and avoiding getting hit, except for when I believe he throws him back into the corner and absolutely mauls his face. I mean, he would have knocked his head clean off.
Yeah.
But other than that, like you can swallow that. Like in the early Rockies, you swallowed it, but you were like, I mean, that guy got hit in the face about 400 times.
Yeah, there was
But
a lot less slow motion, sweat splashing montage.
Yeah.
It used to just be there'd be a punch, or the slow punch that had the sweat.
and to do the
splaying,
and then it'd freeze. Yeah.
And there's a lot
Because they're moving better, they're more fluid
quicker,
in their movements.
Well,
so
even that's what I was going to say. Even when the ones Gibbo's talking about, where you can see they're throwing them, you know, so they're going to try and just, you know, you can see that they can box. They're guys that have got fluid movement and they're throwing.
Or what you can do, like they did in the
shots,
first Creed, is line up your lead actor and punch him fair in the face and knock him out.
I think that both of them had to take a couple of shots for this one.
Yeah.
Like you can't fake
The slow-mo ones where they get hit, you can't do it because the slow-mo camera's going to pick up that
there's
the
no
contact
impact.
is very limited.
Yeah,
So you actually got to belt each other.
Even things like where
You couldn't pay me enough to get hit by Big Nasty.
no, it's like getting hit by a train.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of ones where like Adonis gets hit and Victor's hand, like Adonis's head goes, but Victor's hand stops.
Yeah.
That's a bad look. But other than that, like you just can't fault the rest of it. To be honest, it's pretty good.
Well, in the first one, when they actually had him hit Michael B. Jordan, he said he hit him with about 40% power, knocked him fucking cold.
Oh yeah, dropped it. Yeah.
Like cold.
Who was that one?
I can't remember that guy's name.
Danny something, was it?
He was a pro heavyweight too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was ugly, but...
I remember seeing that on Sly's Instagram.
And Sly's there talking shit in the background. Welcome to getting paid.
That was his idea. He goes, you know what you're going to have to do here? You're going to have to take a shot. Like, oh, right, I know.
It's a bit easier when Mr. T's throwing it.
It seems harder when Dolph's throwing it and your heart's bouncing around your very body.
He nearly died when he got punched in the chest.
So the choreography is far more fluid. So it looks a little more realistic, and you can buy it a bit better. They can avoid each other. So it's not just blokes pummeling faces the whole time, which is what the original first couple of films were. So I thought that was also lifted the game of it again.
I really like Michael B. Jordan and Tessa Thompson's chemistry as well as a couple. They were really good in the first one, but in this one they've got a bit more ups and downs to sort of deal with.
She's so boring.
What?
I found her boring.
Oh, I didn't get it.
She kind of gets not a lot to do.
Not as much, but with the baby stuff. But I thought the wedding proposal scene was really good with her not having a hearing aid in and stuff like that. But I just think they seem like a real couple. They sell that.
They seem very, very good
It's
together.
kind of natural, yeah.
And she's way better than Adrian would ever be. So, as far as boxing wives go, she's a step in the right direction.
And I actually think that the stuff with Rocky and Creed together too still plays pretty well. Like they've got a funny little chemistry going as well. Like that comes across as some of the funnier dialogue comes between those two. Like when he's asking what he should say and
when he says like you always send her a text. That's a great line.
That was good stuff. Yeah. So
people still do that shit.
You can kind of get on board with that too. Like that they are close because they act like they're close.
Yeah.
I actually think Rocky taking a back seat helped the film because he's not in it as much and he sort of steps back to allow more of the Drago stuff but also to include the baby stuff and all that type of thing. I feel he sort of took himself slightly into the background because I think we're seeing the end of Rocky.
Well, I think they've almost set it up whereas they could continue without Rocky if they wanted to. Like I could see another Creed movie with Rocky not in it or Rocky in it for 2 scenes or something like that.
Would you watch it?
I would. You're going to miss something. Guaranteed.
You're going to be
missing something
hugely.
But I just feel like they've established some other stuff there that could possibly go without.
Well, as Adam said,
if they wanted to.
If you did something with the Dragos...
We know it's a money decision, so if Sylvester says I'm done, I think they could probably still go... it sounds bad to say that, but
sacrilegious.
Hasn't that what Creed's been setting up from the get-go?
Yeah, a little
bit. We can continue these movies with...
I would be less... I would go and see it, a third Creed, on the strength of these 2 films, even if Rocky wasn't in it. But I think you would lose a core part of your
lose a lot. You would lose a lot, but
it's like the heart of the movies.
They're setting up all this stuff around him to try and go... Like, you've obviously got the old trainer's son, Duke's son.
Yep.
You've got his mum, who I actually really liked the stuff that she did back in this one. You've got these connections to the other stuff around it. So I'm not saying it's the right move, but as you said, you think Sylvester's done with the character, but I would go and see another one without him.
Because at the moment, the strength of these 2 films is enough to get me back for another.
Yeah.
And whether that has him or not is...
And who doesn't want to see Clubber Lang come back with his son?
No, sorry, that's a bridge too far.
We need more family members in
It's a bridge too far.
Tommy Morrison's sons are real boxers too, mate.
That's jumping the shark. That's too much.
No,
that's
come
too far.
on.
Don't you want to see a broken Clubber Lang?
I pity the fool.
He's angry because he wasn't really that bad a guy, but he was being made out to be a...
Sitting in the corner eating a Snickers.
He was talking about raping Sylvester's wife.
Okay, so he wasn't bad.
He's eating the Snickers and he's talking trash and... Where's Balboa? Let's get Balboa out here. Rocky's dead now, Clubber. I'm getting out of here.
I can't wait to see it. You just pitched it. I've said green light. Here we go.
Jesus Christ. So at the end of this, they they do it feels like a send off to Rocky.
Yeah,
when he does
sits
that
down.
fist bump and he says, "It's your time now."
Yeah.
Or when
And then he sits down.
shot when everyone was in the ring.
Yeah, and he
was
sits
just
down on the
sitting
outside.
on the
Yeah.
side.
And all it says is Creed on his back.
Yeah.
That feels like a handover, which means maybe you want to come back. But guess what else felt like a handover? The end of Rambo when he's walking down the driveway. And now there's another Rambo movie. So you tell me.
Look, if someone comes with a bag of cash big enough, Sly will come back.
It's what he's carrying down the driveway to his dad's house. in Rambo.
Bag of cash from
Dad,
Rambo.
here's the money for the next Rambo I'm going to make in 5 years. Oh, wait, better make it 10. I better be 76.
As I said to Adam, in the pictures for Rambo, he looks like $1 million. And then I said, oh, sorry, he looks like 1 million pesos. Which would be about $7, which is what he looks like.
Speaking of not looking so good, no, we'll get to that later. The soundtrack. I like all the music in this.
Yeah, look, the music's all right.
I like what they did with like the Gonna Fly Now remix and stuff, but also the original stuff for Tessa Thompson's character.
Yeah.
Her music is really cool. Does she actually sing any of her
Yeah,
own
I think
stuff?
that's her. Yeah, that's
She's
what she is.
She's good, man. Like that's
sing, yeah.
proper, and it's like real, like soulful.
Yeah.
Sort of, I don't know, like tech.
And
I
I
don't know,
believe her
weird.
partner is Janelle Monáe or whatever.
Oh, really?
So I imagine they'd be making some pretty cool songs there. I don't know whether she had any input. But
It feels like she would. But that stuff, like the one she does in the stadium, is really cool. The one she does in the theater when they're there watching the show and the promoter comes and talks to her.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just cool stuff. Like it's very different for this sort of stuff. So
Mate, that was one of my favourite sequences, and the promoters of, he's a bit of a cipher, he's kind of there in the shadows a couple of times, but when he says to him, having the belt isn't enough.
yeah,
You need a narrative.
yeah.
And how many of these heavyweights how many do we
there's
remember?
77 of them,
77
4.
world champs.
Yeah.
How many do you know?
We know about 4
yeah,
of them.
Yeah.
That was a good speech.
That was a
cool.
good speech.
Yeah.
Until he went too far and said shit about his dad.
Yeah, that was too far.
was
But
harsh.
there's that speech about, you don't have your legacy and all that sort of stuff, basically, I'm like, if you were someone in that position, you've got to have a level of ego. And to be told you'll just be one of a long line that everyone will forget.
Yeah.
You could imagine that sort of getting into the psyche of someone like that and being kind of a motivating factor.
Yeah. I also love the fact that the way that they put that sequence together where you're getting intercut sequences of Drago doing manual labour, like lifting cement and pallets and stuff, and then fighting in dirty gyms and just belting blokes, with Adonis fighting for the championship in Vegas and then about to propose marriage. Just kind of showcasing the two different styles of boxer you had.
Yeah. It set that Drago stuff up nicely.
Yeah.
It set up this whole
Us against the world
What you
type of thing.
have should have been mine, basically.
Yeah.
Speaking of Rocky versus Drago, my favourite scene in the whole movie is those two in the cafe,
Mate.
in the restaurant.
That is just dripping with animosity. You
It's
just
so
feel
good.
it.
Even the little detail of Rocky rocks over there and he sits at the other table, so he's not sitting at the same table as Drago, and then
And
they're
he
talking
does
about the photos. and
no pictures of me.
pictures of
no
me,
stuff like
yeah,
that,
no. There's
It's
none of
just
that here.
so good. But the whole time you were like, are they going to fight? Like, what's going to happen? They both really sell it.
Yeah.
Imagine those two throwing down.
Oh.
My shoulder's gone.
My hip. My heart stopped.
Hang on, let me get up. Let me get to my feet. Help me up.
There's real venom in the room, though.
Even when he dropped, my boy will break yours or whatever he said,
Yeah.
you kind of were waiting for that. But even when he said it, the rest of it had been played well enough that you were like, yeah, I'll take it that way. I'll take it.
He says my son.
But that also has a really cool.
Yeah.
You're not having this, are you?
That's all right. I'm a dyslexia later. It's all right.
You've been very quiet.
Hasn't even chimed in with a like yet.
I'm agreeing with a lot of the stuff you're saying.
I really
He's up
like.
2 or 3.
I also like the conversation they have outside Rocky's place. Him and Adonis.
Yeah,
Where he's
yeah.
saying you've got everything to lose. You don't take this fight. A guy like this is dangerous.
Yeah.
And he's
again-
like, you don't think I can win, can you?
Well, that's an ego thing again.
And
like-
again, you can see both sides. You can see Rocky's just got his interests at heart. You got a family now, but all Adonis is saying is, you don't think I can beat you.
I didn't like that about Adonis. He kept on testing everybody. Like, why do you think I should win this fight? Like,
But see, this
but
was
I didn't feel like he had the self-belief in himself
But
Like,
that's the whole character. That's
he was on
what
a
he's
suicide
doing
mission
through
the whole
movie.
time.
But this is the thing. That's what I said to Adam. This is why I liked it, because Creed 1 was, I'm not a Creed.
Yeah.
And he's got that kind of like, I want to prove myself. In this one, he's basically proven himself.
Yeah.
So where you go to, he's got the Drago kid,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
this is what Rocky thrived on.
But I felt like the drama.
Can't beat
I felt like
this guy.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. He didn't. You have to find somewhere for him to go.
Yeah.
He can't just rock up and everyone say, "Yeah, you're the best. Good enough to beat this guy."
Yeah.
'Cause it was the same.
But
with
he
Rocky.
could have done a lot
First,
more.
it was Apollo. Oh, you can't beat him. Oh, we took him to a draw. Oh, you can't beat Apollo. Oh shit, he's Clubber Lang. You can't beat him. Oh, Drago is literally Superman. You can't beat him.
Yeah.
Like, you just got to find somewhere.
What do you? Yeah.
Well, I just felt like they could have given him a bit more depth. It's not like he's a heavyweight boxer. The difference between being the best and being the second best in the heavyweight boxing world, surely the self-doubt can't be that big a factor at that level. I don't know. I felt like they could have attacked
But
that
it wasn't.
from a
This is
different
the thing. I didn't feel like it was a self-doubt. I felt like it was. Everyone else doesn't think I can beat him.
Yeah.
The chip on the shoulder.
Look,
is
what I
still
think
there.
happened is Stallone cut and paste and lost a piece.
I didn't see that as that much of an issue. Like,
Yeah,
I felt
it's not massive.
he was getting a bit cocky.
As I was watching it the whole time, I was just like, you could have done this, you could have done this, you could have done this, and that.
It fit with what they built up the first. He still had a chip on his shoulder. You didn't think you don't think I'm the best.
But I just think the boxing is just so rich with characters, and like they talked about Rumble in the Jungle and that sort of stuff. That real life chip on your shoulder, as opposed to it was my daddy, and like I just felt like that was too cliched. There's so much more to work with.
See, that's the thing. In the first one, that's what it was. This is why I had no problem with him at the start of the movie in this one. And I got what Adam was saying. He's like being a bit of a fucking brat in some parts of it.
No, he was a whiner, that was it. He was just a whiner, that's all.
he's looking at Rocky and he's looking at other people. They're saying you shouldn't take this fight. And he's there going, why shouldn't I?
Yeah.
And then when he says to Rocky in that scene, out now, he says, you don't think I can beat him. And that's what he's pissed off about.
Yeah.
Like,
I think my only problem with it, I get what you're both saying. I didn't have an issue with it because I felt, yes, that's he has a chip on his shoulder over some certain things.
Yeah.
I got that. I just felt he was a little bit too sulky in those sequences, and that's not a knock on Michael B. Jordan. I felt wasn't as strongly written, and I said the same
that's
thing.
What I'm saying.
Creed has the same. He's quite abrasive in Creed.
Yeah,
but I think it's just a little bit better written. That's all.
It's just the way. To me, it's you've got to have a journey on your character for your character to go on.
Yeah. I agree.
So
I just
the abrasiveness is just how Michael B.
I
Jordan
felt like it
played.
could have been a stronger journey though.
But doesn't it all come from Creed? Doesn't it all come from Apollo? This is exactly what he was in the first one. He was.
I did like that
Apollo.
they reflected his father's son.
I'm like, I couldn't see it any other way because he's kind of. That's what Apollo was. He was the big talker. He was this and that.
Yeah.
And so when he sees Rocky thinking you don't think I can beat him, he's like, screw you. And this is where he ditches him and brushes him off. And then that's the journey.
That's the other thing. One of my notes was if the conversations escalate so quickly. Like no one's sitting there and saying to him, "All right, I know you can fight him. Let's make a plan." Like if you're a proper trainer, somebody around him has to have enough common sense to go, "This guy's got a chip on his shoulder and he thinks he can beat anybody."
But that's Rocky.
And he's not
Rocky
ready
wants
for
to
it.
walk.
Yeah, it didn't work, and it didn't. Like, I don't know, but it's like it just escalates from. Oh, you don't. From I'm gonna. Do you think I should take this fight? To I'm gonna take this fight. To,
no, it escalates from. So what do you think of dinner? To you don't think I can win you?
Yeah. I just felt like it was. I felt like there was no voice of reason, and that he was going against. Apart from Rocky tried, but it didn't feel like he was in a position of strength.
See, this is all Rocky. This is the whole Rocky franchise we're picking apart here. That's like. This is Rocky, and
that might be my expectations.
But what's his name? You know, when Mickey's telling Rocky, "You're blind, you are blind, you cannot beat this guy."
Yeah,
and
the old dude's
Rocky's
slapping him in the face.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Maybe you,
but you're doing it a different way.
Your angle is, Matty, is that that doesn't work for you, whereas it works for us.
Yeah, that's. Okay.
I just think
because to me, I just look at it as you need to have it.
Well, you got to have that stuff. The
Yeah,
conversations have to escalate quickly because we've got to have 20 minutes of montage and boxing. Like,
Speaking of montages, That bloke's training regime is fucking outrageous.
Which one are we talking about, in the desert?
Yeah, no, not in the desert. The one before where you see him leaping into the air. So he's doing a burpee into a battle rope, then back to his feet,
Drago.
back into the battle ropes.
That's Drago.
And then he's doing chin-ups with about 200 kilos hanging off his belt.
In the chain, that's a decent chin-up.
Come on.
I don't think
Adam was sitting there watching it going, yeah, I was doing that this Arvo. I had a couple hanging off.
I had an extra plate on there, but yeah, he's done all right.
I don't think I'd fight Michael B. Jordan if he was underwater and I was on land.
Yeah, I know. He's throwing punches and they're basically going as quick as they
tried throwing a punch underwater?
Yeah.
And his hands get going.
Oh, it was just crazy, but just seeing him do that burpee and he does the battle ropes at the same time, then he just comes down on his feet and starts doing it real quick.
I might try that down at Sizak next week.
I guarantee there's definitely lip dance.
Yeah, like that.
A couple of
There'll be a small video circulating on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember about a month ago when Chris Hemsworth did the Thor workout and then Jack Black's posted the exact same thing with these two mini weights. That'll be me this year. I won't be able to have the battle ropes. I'll just have to have a bloody pair of shoelaces or something.
Dental floss.
The first fight, I actually really like the fact that it circles back to Rocky 4 with Duke wanting to call it and him telling him, no, you're not going to call it. This is going to go on. And it goes back to what you're saying about Adonis is the whole, the chip on the shoulder. And I'm fighting this guy fair and square, in the ring. I'm not just going to have the towel thrown in and just cave to him. Even if it's going to get me killed. Because basically he was in the real poo at that stage.
Which is, this is all stuff we've seen before.
Yeah.
Every single angle of that is stuff we've seen before. But I really like the disqualification. Felt like a little bit of WWE. It's like, he's won it by disqualification. He's still got the belt and all that sort of shit.
But again, that we hadn't seen that Rocky picture.
Exactly.
And to me, it just freshened it up enough.
And it has, it has happened. I remember seeing Roy Jones Jr. do that and lost the fight because he did exactly what Drago did in that.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, yeah, cool. I'm happy with that.
It's a good sell too. It actually reminded me of Rocky Balboa when Mason Dixon breaks his hand.
Yeah.
Because at some point you've got to find a way to make something happen that's believable.
Yeah.
And instead of them making him lose, they make it so he's still the champion. He's got to live with that instead.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's just Rocky 3 where he's got to fight.
And he's got to live with all the broken bones and the
the physical healing and the mental healing.
Yeah. Orbital muscle bone in his eye is all busted and his rib cage is all busted and he looks like shit.
And he's pissing blood.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ruptured kidney.
The part where he was pissing blood was
that's fucking every morning.
Too many broccas yesterday. It's not supposed to be red, it's supposed to be yellow.
Oh shit.
The training montage prior to the final fight.
Glorious.
Rousey
The desert.
in the desert.
That was
I particularly love the put down the tyre and just stand toe to toe with each other.
That was awesome.
That was awesome.
That was awesome.
Awesome. Nobody would do it. It's nobody's training regime, but still, I loved it.
I was also sitting there questioning Rocky's game plan. Get close to the bloke. we're gonna get into clinches, and we're gonna make sure you can duck.
Are you sure this is a good idea? He's only 4 inches taller than me. It's 30 kilos heavier than
my game plan against him is stick and move, but don't worry about the stick.
move. Yeah, you just hear my corner going, move! Keep going, keep running.
His reach is 86 inches. I'll need you at least 94 away.
Stand in the other corner. Over there.
That plan works real well until you get smashed by a giant.
Yeah. It all sounds good in theory as he's punching out bums who are down in the desert with him.
My favourite part about that montage was when he's running behind the car.
Yeah.
And then Rocky looks back and he's like, shit, I killed him. And he's when Michael B. Jordan passes out.
He gets blacked out on the tarmac. And he doesn't even move.
But then the next part's him outrunning the car.
Yeah.
No, but that's jumped ahead in time.
Yeah.
But I'm with you because that scene,
that was funny.
That's passing out because you're like your body's shutting down.
Yeah.
That's not a thing of will. Like
Yeah,
and you get out and your legs are all jelly and you fall down. You know, like.
I was just waiting for Rocky to hit the NOS button too after watching all those Fast and Furious movies.
No, you just look at the rear vision mirror and go, and ignite. Flick the switch and go. That part of the
Rocky
montage.
doesn't even
it's a
get
bit
out and give him a
unbelievable.
bloody drink, does he?
No.
Just get up. Come on, you better get up.
It's
Come
the
on.
old- it's
Come on,
the
his
old-
kidneys have failed.
Don't you remember, it wasn't that long ago we'd go down to footy training and they fucking withhold the water. You went for the water bottle, you're a cat. And then all of a sudden, as Gibbo said, we start to realise, that doesn't actually make you physically stronger. That's just fucking your body up.
Yeah. You're actually causing permanent damage.
I also love the short sequence where Ivan gets in the ring with Victor, and
Yeah.
Victor kind of touches him up a bit. You can see the bit of anger there, like, and a bit of, I want to get stuck in there. He pushes him up against the corner and then starts going bam, bam, bam. I just thought that was it's just a couple of seconds, but it just adds again to the...
Yeah, because he gives him a look, he
Drago
pushes
fight.
him off, and then he
Yeah.
sort of gives him a stare down. He's like, "Fuck, I'm out of my league here too." Like, there's a bit of a realization that if his son wanted to give him a crack, it'd be all over.
Big Nasty is underrated, one of the best villains in the series.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the way he acted it was awesome.
Yeah.
For a guy that didn't do a lot of speaking, he delivered a fucking really good performance. And by extension, he had the kind of what people see as the ultimate Rocky villain as the mouth, a little bit of the mouthpiece and stuff like that.
He lived and breathed boxing. The fact that he turned up to that dinner party in sweats.
I know. And his press conference.
And probably stinking of,
Lives and breathes.
I just forward for a run.
I love the fact that anyone European sounds like Arnie. He's Russian, dickhead.
Oh, shit.
The final fight had all the right bits to it. It was exactly what you expected, but it delivered them again. And then it threw in that moment with the towel.
Yeah.
Which, you kind of saw it coming a little bit, but initially I was actually thinking they're going to throw the towel in on Adonis.
Yeah, but the thing that I didn't see coming was the Ivan Drago basically saying, fuck them.
Yeah.
It's you and me. I thought, how's it going to play out? I was still wondering, is he going to be disappointed? I loved it. I loved the end bit where Russia again abandoned them. It sounds ridiculous. The entire Russia.
Was Gorbachev still in power?
Russians still bad.
Rocky needed to stand up and punch communism into submission again.
Oh shit! I've already done this one.
I could change.
That should have been his final speech. He rolls out the old Rocky IV speech.
Yeah, looking at just the personal relationship again. Like, as you said, putting Bridget Nielsen in there was a smart move because she embodied what the country...
She definitely thought so.
Yeah, she was
Bridget, she answers the phone. So, you want me to be in a movie? What? Are you going to have to look at my face? I'm there.
You know my last credit was Flavour of Life.
Are those two still together?
No, short-lived, wasn't it? But yeah, I thought it was great when they're embracing, and then the final touch is after he'd been sitting there in the car, basically ready to run his son over. Yeah. He's running next to him.
Yeah, if you can call it. He's hobbling next to him. But
so I love that. I love that.
I thought those bits were just superb.
And again, Big Nasty plays it like when you see him on that run, you're like, fuck, he's genuinely happy. He's happy that his old man's just about dying next to him.
But he didn't seem like he was like he still had some anger towards his dad because of he was carrying all of his dad's shit, but he also, you could tell he really admired his dad and he wanted to make him proud. He loved him the whole time, and then now that they're on the same page, that's all he ever wanted, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it all comes across, and like you said, he doesn't barely speak, but he sells it all. He does a lot with his face and everything in other scenes where he actually does a really good job.
Yes, I was very impressed with him.
But all that stuff's really poignant, As I said, the throwing in the towel. Then they get in the ring, they hug each other, and he tries to push him off initially. He's trying to push him off.
Yeah.
And he hugs him. It was poignant stuff. And again, it was something that we ring a little bit more. I have been bagging the bloke for years. I'm so down on Rambo 5, it's not funny, but now I'm starting to get excited.
I've never been more up on it in my life.
Once you saw him in the tracksuit on Twitter telling you it's all coming together,
But yeah, it just wrapped everything up kind of nicely. And if this is the end of Rocky, the character Rocky, I think it's a pretty good Pretty good send off.
Good way to go out.
Yeah.
So what we need him to do is come back for Creed 3 and for it to be a stinker. So he'll spend the next 3 to 4 movies trying to make up for it, like he did with Rocky 5.
Rocky 5, still the smite on the whole thing.
Yeah. Rocky 5 is just it's like it's another film. Like it's outside of the
It's a
canon.
different franchise.
I still look at it and say
It's like Tokyo Drift.
I still look at it and say the idea is all right, but the fucking execution was just horrendous.
Yeah, Rocky 5 had where he was going was a path
Because
that
it
was
was saying,
interesting.
continuing to box is just, we've been saying for 4 movies,
You're gonna die.
retired and you're gonna die.
You know what
so
I
to
love
take
about-
it out of the boxing ring seems smart.
You know what
but
I
they
love
just
about looking
fucked
back
it
on 5? He couldn't fight because he had brain damage, but he's back in 6, he's 10 years older, or he's 15, 20 years older.
Yeah.
He's back in the ring with an actual legit heavyweight. It's like, God.
As we were discussing.
Dude,
me
in
and Adam-
5 he goes bare knuckle boxing with the heavyweight champion.
Well, me and Adam discussed that throughout the Rocky series, Rocky's brain capacity is like Tessa Thompson's hearing aid. They just turn it up and down depending on what they need from Rocky.
Well, they did that with Adrian too, because in the first one, she's like, I'm pretty sure she's actually on the spectrum. And like in
And
a not
Rocky, in
a
the first one, Rocky is borderline.
special.
He is. Like they
Special
pretty
needs.
much, he can't get a job except for bloody belting blokes up and.
Yeah. But by 3,
His best
the
friend's a
guy's
squash
walking around in Armani suits and talking bloody... talking like, he's banging out a promo reel for an aftershave like a professional, whereas in the second one they were saying, or was it the first one, they were just going, mate, you can't even read the bloody board.
But even that, they dole it down a bit when he's at the, they dole it down a bit when he's at the graves talking to Adrian and things like that. But then it just, whenever he needs to, he just delivers a profound speech. It's like, it's a bit funny.
tough sell.
Adam was questioning whether at the bit where he's rolling dough, Adam was saying, "Is that his restaurant?" We were thinking someone going, "Sir, you don't actually work here."
Do you know why you're here?
For Adrian.
Yeah, we know that was the restaurant, but it was kind of like that's. It seemed like he was just in a day.
There are a couple of times where Stallone kind of looks a bit, like he's not...
Not quite on it.
Not quite there.
You look over
His
him.
heart stopped for 5 seconds.
Shit, mate, you alright?
Someone's had to jolt him back
Yeah,
in.
what he does, he comes out of it like going, "This ain't about how hard you hit." He's done this.
boss's own boss.
Okay, dislikes. I mentioned that I found him a little more abrasive in some of that early stuff and a little bit sulky.
Petulant.
Yeah. And again, it's not a knock on Michael B. Jordan. I just felt the writing was probably a tad lower than Ryan Coogler's effort, because he was a similar type of character in the first movie.
Stallone.
I'm Kiki Stallone.
That's all you ever do.
I'm not Kiki Stallone. I'm just saying it's just a touch below, and it just sort of stuck out a little bit that he was quite sulky. He sulked a bit, As soon as someone said you can't do it, he'd be like, "What?" Immediately hit a tantrum, mate.
He's laying on the ground in Walmart, just kicking and punching the ground.
I thought he was going to lay someone out.
I was the same. I felt like I wanted more depth. You've finally got a strong black man as the main character, and he's just whinging the whole time. Like they could have done so much more with it.
Jeepers, Matty.
Alright, okay. You felt you could have got more from it.
I felt like I could have. I liked the bit at the beginning when he's sort of, you see there's things that are important to his life. He's trying to figure out how to ask her to marry me and all that sort of stuff. You can see that there's things that he's struggling with at that point, even though he's obviously reached the pinnacle of his career. But
No,
then
he hasn't, because there's another Drago out there.
Yeah. Give or take one match, but yeah. So I felt like he could have been a much more compelling character.
Yeah, I know we talk back and forth about that, but I thought, just even chucking the bloke in the... They tried to develop the reasons for it. Even chucking the bloke that took his car in the first one. And he knocks him out. And he's like, give me my keys. But then the commentators are saying, he's lost a bit of that speed he had and all this sort of stuff. And even the promoter or someone says in one of the press conferences or whatever,
You fought him 3 years too late.
Yeah, exactly.
3 years too late, yeah.
So everyone is kind of doubting him. I
He starts to doubt himself as well, which is good. He does that line with then why don't I feel like it? When he's talking, he's got that self-doubt still.
See, I didn't think the self-doubt came in until he got beaten.
Yeah, after that.
I thought when he was saying, "Why don't I feel like it?" was because he was being disrespected by everyone.
Yeah.
And
I'm not being
they
treated
do
like
let level him out after Drago wallops him the first time.
Yeah.
You know, because he suddenly realises, you know, I need to get my head in this and I need to get serious and I need to, you know.
Yeah. Which was, I mean, it's the same stuff we used to do with Rocky, but Rocky was just a bumbling, kind of just didn't take the advice.
Yeah.
He didn't have the chip on the shoulder, which they developed in Creed 1. That, like, he wanted to prove to everyone what he was.
Which was always going to be there in Creed 1, wasn't it? Because
it was
obviously
always going to be
his father.
And I felt so to start Creed 2 with, I'm still not... You still
I'm at the
think
pinnacle,
I'm
but I still haven't got respect.
That's always the flaw, I guess, when you have movies with a sequel, is that
that's
the
it.
one thing that motivating factor's gone.
You figure out we've ironed out the character in the first one, but then you've got to have another journey in the second one.
He's not fighting for money, he's not fighting for glory, because he's not fighting for self-doubt or whatever.
You still got to have a lesson to learn. The character's still got to have a lesson to come away with the end of it with the lesson learnt. And but I can see what you're saying. That, like, it might have been a touch clumsier than the first one.
I felt Tessa Thompson was good and everything, but she doesn't get much to do.
Yeah.
I like Gibbo, didn't mind her songs. I could have probably done with a couple less minutes of it. Like, we seem to get the whole track. It seemed like a little bit of the Tessa Thompson showcase for the songs, and it's like it felt more out of place in this one because there was less focus on her music than there was in the first one.
Yes. Yeah.
Like when he walks into the clubs in the first one and it's her singing and he's like, oh, whoa, like that kind of wasn't there.
Yeah.
But we still got whole tunes of her.
There's a little bit more cut and paste. You know, this felt like, because I know, and you actually like this, but in the Luke Cage, where you come in and the band just plays a song and you got to watch the whole song.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But she had limited stuff to do. But of course,
she was definitely underwritten in this one.
You had
like
so many storylines competing, I guess it was hard.
I like the entry when she walked in, but into that last fight scene, she's like leading the pack. You're like, and I like that. But then I was like, the scene before it, where it's just him by himself in a locker room. Surely a locker room's got someone talking to you, or a group of people at the side saying, "Oh, don't talk to him. He's getting ready. He's in the zone or something." I felt like it felt a bit empty in certain parts of it.
So I haven't seen a lot of that stuff, but to me, it felt legit.
Well, earlier on, there is a scene where the things fall and they say, all right, everybody out, and then they clear them out.
But that's the thing. Yeah. That's what they do. That's personal choice. Like, and they'll have people in there or whatever, but then they'll give you, clear the room. There'll be no one in there except who you want in there.
Yeah.
And he talks to Tessa Thompson, and then Rocky just comes bumbling in. I thought he was going to turn around and say, I sent everybody out.
Just hit him.
I love when she signs to him, that, like, asking him if he's taking his nervous shit yet.
Yeah, so I didn't have an issue with that, because I think that's what fighters do. They do their lead up how they want to do it, and a lot of them do it by themselves.
Yeah.
So...
Jared, mate, you made a very good observation. Ivan Drago, he's a man down on his luck, feels he's been screwed, but forgot that he used to juice it up all day long.
He's dirty on Russia, but he took every jab under the sun in the first one. They were jabbing him with horse needles and shit, and he was all up for it. I suggested he was the Russian Ben Johnson at one point.
Russian Ben Johnson.
Perhaps he should have just realised, look, that may have had something to do with my downfall. The large amount of steroids.
I was looking forward to a scene of him doing humorous ads for Sportsbet, like Ben Johnson. A little bit of personal responsibility, Ivan. You took part in it, willingly.
Yeah, drugs are bad, mate. Anyway, you got to be aware of that.
I had a bit of a question mark about. I get that he's. I don't know if they try to keep him under wraps or whatever, but if Drago Jr. is such a dominant, just beast, why is he fighting in backwater gyms in the Ukraine, completely anonymous to the world?
We said the same thing.
He's fighting in...
They look like unsanctioned fights.
He's fighting in underground bunkers in...
I was waiting for Jean-Claude Van Damme to come out.
Yeah, we were surprised they had the gloves on.
Wrong bet.
Yeah, Kimbo Slice. He recently beats Kimbo Slice.
He was a big thing for about 5 minutes.
Ended up getting a mixed martial arts career for a while.
Yeah, didn't do that well.
He got hit.
Yeah, tiny white guys just bashing the crap out of him.
He died, didn't he?
He did. Heart problems, wasn't it?
I can't imagine what caused that. With the Drago Jr. too, because I, as I said, the Rocky 3 similarities are always there, but I don't think they made him scary enough. In the first fights, he's just boxing dudes, and he's beating them, but
he gets a bit scarier later on.
Clubber Lang is laying dudes out and hurting people and just destroying them.
Yeah. they
He's
cut
beating
to.
guys, but it's
There
just...
is there is
There is
one.
a couple where
There's
Drago
one.
just punches from above and guys
Yeah.
just go boom.
There's one where he just collapses some poor bastard. Like that was one where you went, holy shit.
Yeah.
But the rest of them seem pretty generic,
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
I think that it seemed to me to be a clear choice to make him not like
A superhuman.
Drago was in the first one, where it was just so ridiculous that it.
But
kind of-
you make a really good point there, Gibbo, that he's
Thanks,
fighting in Chernobyl. Like, he's fighting in underground car parks and
Yeah.
stuff. And yet he's suddenly on the radar. And I know that it's
Yeah.
a Drago Creed thing,
Well, that
but
was-
there is a boxing list, mate. You can't just
Yeah.
jump up.
Tell Rocky won that.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, true. That's
Yeah.
how Rocky got in there.
So it's a boxing promoter thing, right? He's pulled this dude. He's gone
From
oh, yeah,
out of
he's something.
nowhere
Yeah.
to get into
And
it.
there probably isn't any such thing as out of nowhere nowadays with YouTube and shit
Yeah.
like that too. But it just seemed weird that why wouldn't he just be up the ranks somewhere and be like the number 2 contender?
I still think
at
there's
that
rules.
point?
Why wouldn't he
You're
just be
obliged to
fighting
give
in
particular
Russian,
ranks
proper
shots.
Russian sanctioned
Sanctioned fights, yeah. There's no
Yeah.
reason he wouldn't be a professional. He would have destroyed everybody.
And it seems a little unnecessary because after the first fight, they obviously go to the proper fights. So it seems like why didn't you just do him working in that environment like he was, but then the fights are taking place in what looks like sanctioned fights. What looks like
He's still got royal boxing blood,
Yeah.
despite what happened to him.
Yeah, I think part of it was to get to the first fight quickly.
Yeah.
We
They rushed to the first
Adam
fight.
thought Adam had this. I think you had an inkling that you'd fucking fallen asleep for an hour or something because Adam he just goes, "Oh shit, is this the fight?" I'm like, yeah, well, we're out of the fight.
Well, the funny thing was, it just came up so quickly. Drago calls him out. Rocky says, "No, you don't fight him." Training montage, Biffo. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
it's all
it's not
packaged
even the
in
middle of
about
the
10 minutes.
Yeah,
I'm like, holy shit, that happened quickly.
it did. It went through pretty quick.
And also, my only other dislike is, you're not putting Adonis Creed in the ring with that bloke. Like, they're heavyweights, but the
Yeah.
other blokes are super
You
heavy.
looked at him and
mate.
you're like, "There's no way these blokes are in the same weight
And
class."
B. Jordan is jacked. Like,
He's a big dude.
He is big.
And what's he? I think he's 6'1", isn't he, or 6'2"?
But he
Yeah.
is just dwarfed by that.
How
bloke.
big's Big Nasty? He must be a solid
Must be about
6'6".
6'5", 6'6",
Yeah.
because he towers over him.
He's-
And I reckon he had 30, 35, 40 pounds
It's
on him.
definitely not the same weight
There's a
class. But then
size
again,
discrepancy, yeah.
see Rocky 4.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a
true.
massive. Rocky's 5'9", maybe.
We said that
That's not a
exactly.
heavyweight.
225 pounds.
Roy Jones would have dwarfed
But
him.
remember, in that one, it's an exhibition.
Yeah,
Rocky
technically.
5 is an exhibition, so you could fight a bear.
Rocky 4's next exhibition. Rocky 5's a fucking joke.
Yeah, Rocky 5's a joke.
He fought Thunderlips too, don't forget. Double weight class issue there.
If you believe the Hulkster's telling of it, he made Sylvester a star.
God, he's a tool.
I was craving some more talk in the ring. All it was he got an occasional, come on, that's it.
Well, Drago
No
couldn't.
conversation.
Drago couldn't speak,
Language
mate.
barrier. Come on, Matty. Jeez,
Oh,
let's not go back to Die Hard.
They're wearing mouth guards.
He should have been
I don't know,
taunting him.
I liked it. No, I get what you're saying
Bit
because I
more
liked it
time.
in the first one. I liked when he's fucking fighting Wheeler or whatever his name. He's like, "Give me my keys" at the end. Like a bit of that.
But also, in the classic
Could have been a
Rockies,
taunt, a laugh, or something.
the classic Rockies,
I'm
it's so
belting
bad
a
and
dude.
all that sort of shit.
If I'm belting the world champion, I'm going to be smiling at
But
something.
it's usually coming from the other guy.
Yeah.
And Big Nasty was speaking Russian the whole movie except for one line when he says "what loss" or whatever he says.
yeah.
So
That was a good line too.
Even in
It was.
even in the huddles, the advice was always, maybe this is the teacher in me wanting some
I think the
constructive
advice was hit the
criticism.
bloke.
Yeah, it's just hit the bloke, don't fall over, hit the bloke. And I was just like, no, work the eye, or like there's so much more they could have done.
Hang on, Matty.
Chopping him down,
He
chopping him
clearly
down.
says, break him and points to his wrist.
Hit high, hit low is as
Break
in
him.
depth as it gets. I don't know.
break him again.
Yeah, break him again.
Last night, break him again.
No, but Rocky and Co are there going, chopping wood, getting down low. They're giving it that stuff. Look, Rocky gives a great
I'm whinging.
motivation.
Listen, mate, this is where you trust your training. This is the Phil Jackson. You do all that shit before the fight.
Yeah, the
And then
coaching's
fight,
done.
You should know what you're doing.
No, but
Minimum.
Rocky is a fantastic motivator, but he doesn't give me anything in the ring.
No,
Like, if
no,
I'm getting
exactly.
tailed up, I need some advice. What do you want me to do?
All he tells you is you enjoy pain.
What's that?
Thanks very much, Steve.
No, but remember, like, you do get it in small doses. Like he says, when he throws the right,
Yeah, he's
Throw this.
overextending on the right.
Yeah, he's overextending on the right. He does it every time. Throw him this, he won't be expecting it. And like, that,
You know who
that's
actually-
enough for me.
He actually gets Brad Stevens there though, because Drago sees him doing that
sees him.
and
And
coaches
says,
around that as well,
"That's
and
right."
then he gets crushed.
Yes, I
But-
noticed that.
Yeah, Rocky's. You know, I need advice. If my heart's been bouncing around my chest after getting pummeled by this bloke, I need to know, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to get out of his way or what?
Tessa Thompson gives him a bit of advice too.
Okay, hang on.
Get out of the
No,
way, do you?
no, this is one of my dislikes.
Ooh.
People in the crowd or in the corner coming in with wisdom after you've been hit with something.
Yeah.
He gets smashed. He's like, "Watch that right cross." It's like, bit late.
I'm currently wearing it.
I didn't notice that just happened to me, you stupid bastard. Like, just stop talking to me. Let me fight.
yeah.
But that happens quite a bit.
Yeah. Next time I'll avoid it if I'm still standing.
But it's not just her though; it's a bunch of them.
Yeah.
She'll jump up. Oh.
The mother's involved. Duke's involved. Like everyone's yelling out. But quite frankly, you would not hear a word that was getting said.
And also, you're not experts.
Yeah.
Just
as a
know
boxer,
your role.
all you could hear is probably your heart bloody pounding.
Sit down, be humble.
In Dwayne's case,
the
not
only thing I
pounding.
could hear was Drago boxing my ears off at that point.
I must admit, I did love the way that he throws him into the corner and then they show like close shots from front on of Drago going bang, bang.
They built video game that bit.
It did. Have you played the Creed VR game?
No.
Because that's exactly what it looked like. It just felt like that.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I will say that Stephen Carpel Jr. is just a tad lower a director than.
Yeah, it was lacking a bit of
Mike,
extra zip. That
Put your neck on the line there.
Was I not paying enough attention?
He's a little less than
Did they-
Ryan Coogler.
Did they miss some of the stuff? Like, I liked in Balboa a lot of the, like, they used ESPN or whatever as a...
No, they had that, didn't they?
I felt
They
like
had HBO in this one.
Yeah, Max Kellerman was on there quite a bit.
Yeah.
Maybe too much. Maybe so.
Yeah,
Where was
definitely.
Stephen A. Smith?
Yeah, a bit of Stephen Screen.
And they had
Yeah, telling you who's fighting and they're totally different people.
Who's the bald dude with the glasses too? He looks like Beaker from the Muppets.
I remember who you're talking about, but I can't remember his name.
Yeah, well, he's in there. He's another
Was he the one
ESPN dude.
Who was the old?
Oh,
remember
Scott
the-
Van Pelt.
Oh, I was thinking about. Remember the guy in the ring, the old bloke that told Floyd Mayweather if he was 40 years younger, he'd kick his ass in the middle of an interview.
That's gold, actually.
Should have had him in there telling Rocky, me and you.
Anytime you want it.
So Buddy Marcel, the promoter, that was his name, was it?
Yeah.
Buddy Marcel. I kind of liked the character, but every time he was on screen, I was just like, I really wish they had a cast Sterling K. Brown. That's all I could think of. But I was sorry.
That's fair.
It was like the cheap Sterling K. Brown for
Yeah.
that role. Yeah, I could have done with a bit of that. My last one is the camp, and I know we've been through it a little bit,
Yeah.
but the lack of kind of explanation for going to the middle of nowhere. You know, we're holding our training camp in bumfuck Idaho for some reason, and as you said, the whole point of the camp seems to be, don't worry about sports science. We don't need that shit. All you need is
No Gatorade here. We drink dirt.
all you need is to get out here with the boys that have never fought a professional fight in their life because they live, you know.
These guys' careers went nowhere. That's why they're here.
Yeah.
And they're going to teach you what you're missing.
But he's talking about, you know, you got to have some desire. I would have just kind of, I understood the whole thing of we need to get you focused, get away, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just seemed like
Well, it seemed out of place.
once
that they would go out
Drago
there.
went to the other camp with all the facilities, it's like he's definitely going to kick your ass now because he's got all that shit. That
And it was sort of like similar to the whole Rocky 4 storyline with
Yeah.
Russia and Rocky lifting his
Cutting
family.
wood.
It
and
just
everything,
felt like
chopping wood.
we need to have a montage in a different place.
Yeah.
Because in Creed we did the Rocky montage, but it was with
In
a different
Philly.
character.
Yeah.
Now we need to do it somewhere else like Rocky did.
And we can't have snow, so
We
we'll
can't
have
have
desert.
snow. We can't have the beach. We've already done that. What else do we have? Oh, red
Take him
dirt.
out in the
It was one of my last ones. I called it the Mad Max of boxing.
Yeah,
It's
it felt out of place.
Yeah.
And it did. There was no explanation. It was just kind of like, here we come with me. Next thing you know, they're out punching each other, standing in tyres and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was
It's
just like,
still
I heard
that.
there's this place where boxers go. It's like, what?
Yeah, it's called a gym. Then we go down there.
That's when you're talking to Duke and going, listen, is Rocky, is he deteriorating
Is this dementia?
mentally
Did he
again?
have
'Cause
cancer or is it Parkinson's disease?
he's going downhill fast. But the thing was that the montage still worked for me because of that, the exercise, like the tire. Even though I questioned what we were doing that for, it was kind of cool. Like you got nowhere to run. Then the one where he's doing the crunches and getting whacked in the guts with the medicine ball. And,
Rocky enjoyed that way too much.
I know.
He did.
Sledgehammer the dirt.
Sledgehammer the dirt, that's right. Rocky needed to be bouncing the ping pong balls off for brain training like that.
Yes. This is why the Earth's flat. Because I can bounce a ping pong ball on this fucking blockbuster. Dickhead.
But yeah, just like the questions about the science is in now. You do need water. You do.
And recovery.
You do need recovery.
There is such thing as fatigue.
There's a lot more to it than
Muscular
back in your
atrophy.
day, Rocky.
Yeah.
Anything else that was...
I had one very specific thing from one of the last scenes. I think it might be when they're at Apollo's grave, and the baby's there.
Yep.
The baby's clearly wearing lipstick, and it creeped me out a lot. It's a very strange shade of lipstick, and it looks very unnatural.
Also, Apollo likes to pimp out his headstone.
Yeah.
It's a pretty awesome headstone.
I mean, he was a pretty sort of out there guy.
Yeah, I loved it.
It needs a bit more gold leaf, I'd think he'd probably say that. The only thing I had was Drago's mum. As a person, like,
You're upset.
just go away. Like,
Awful.
what a prick of a human.
Yeah.
Like, my husband
Lost, so...
got to the pinnacle of a sport, came second.
And I was the one responsible for administering needles.
Yeah. And all I did was abandon him and my son.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because of reasons. And I went and she's basically just a bed hopping bloody front runner. Just a prick of a human. And especially like when she says hello Victor at the table.
Yeah.
There's no feeling in that whatsoever. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know if it's because Bridget Nielsen can't act away out of a wet paper
I
bag.
think
or,
it was that, but it worked pretty well for
Yeah,
It worked
it
exactly
actually worked
right,
for
yeah.
what they were going for.
And also, just I don't know that the slicked back blonde thing works anymore when you're that age. It's,
Now, when you're bald,
she may actually look like a
that's usually
football.
not on.
Basically, yeah.
Any good hairdresser will tell you that's not going to happen.
Basically,
Tan and
looked
lettuce
like,
skin didn't help.
They did that just so
You knew who she
it was.
was.
mistake.
Yeah.
Well, you can mistake otherwise. She does not look good.
No, she's no. It looks well. At least Drago had been punched in the face a few times because her head was looking equally as rough as his was. That is a very well worn head.
Yeah.
She's got.
It's just a funny turn for her too, the whole thing, because you think in Rocky 4, she's going to bat for him a couple of times. Like you actually get the feeling that maybe she actually cares about him when she's doing the "you were so very good and we are so very bad" thing.
Yeah.
You think she's kind of sick of standing up for him, and then in this one, she's just abandoned him and her son. It's just, it's not a nice look.
She was an untidy character in terms of that.
Yes.
But to me, it worked. Okay, anything else?
Pretty exciting when we had the
With the remake version.
Yeah, I missed that in the likes. That was very good.
See, Matty's finding more likes. He's coming around.
But
Back
I
in
still think
Jump it up to three. You put it up to three.
I still think a heavyweight boxer has to be a bit of a prick. And if you have just had a kid, you are not going to be able to prepare for a heavyweight fight and
Well,
be
that's why
any
he-
sort of a father.
That's why he wandered into the wasteland. With
Yeah, you get better sleep there.
That was a
right.
parenting course.
I've got no phone reception, so I can't be called back for a crying baby.
Rocky was getting
He was getting phone reception. He was waving to her. He's laying on the deck.
Oh,
and
that's
they-
right. Yeah, you could FaceTime. You're not far enough away. Yeah, keep going.
He's getting 5G out there somehow.
The FaceTime's been spotty here, love. What'd you say about the child being difficult?
No sleep, you say? Me neither.
Just went to the,
I'm
back
sleeping
of-
like a baby because I'm absolutely knackered.
he went to the back of Gungahlin where they're doing all the developments for new properties.
Yeah, he's sitting there going, "Oh, did you mean to FaceTime, Mum?" I can't help out.
I'm busy.
Yeah, talk to Rocky.
Everyone's a prick.
Yeah, talk to Rocky, mate. He'll tell you all about it. That'll do some parenting. Anything else?
I might need to go back and watch it and pay a bit more attention.
No, you won't. You won't like
Look,
it.
you paid $19 for it, mate. You might as well watch it again.
I can't believe you bought it.
I took the cheap route, went to Jared's place.
Yeah, I knew where that was, so I didn't
It's
have to
hired it
dig
on
through.
PSN. It was $6.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's where I would have been going.
Long story, doesn't matter.
All right.
Maddie's still working on the Mega Drive. You can't hire
Put the
movies.
disc in, put the disc out.
See how the Mega Drive.
He's the world's best columns player. Trust me.
Oh, I love columns.
He smashes columns.
That's it. Come watch me play.
I still remember the names of the music in that.
While we're playing 70 hours of Red Dead, Matty's playing columns, and he's phenomenal at it.
I bet my Nan might give you a run. It's the only game she could ever figure out, and she loved it.
I got to level 20 something of Tetris.
Good God.
Give me a block game
reservation.
any day.
Kill it,
Yeah.
kill it, ads
All right. That's Creed 2.
and columns.
Once again, thanks to Ali for putting this out there for us to cover. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify and Podomatic. Our email address is thrillme@iinet.net.au. You can find us on Facebook at Thrillme Podcast Australia, at Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com, and on Instagram at Thrillme Podcast AU. Keep an eye on the Facebook page for details of the next film we're going to cover. But until then, take it easy, and we'll catch up with everyone later. Cheers. Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.